Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Rule. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, today, once again on Slutsk, but the other perspective. We are here with some more monthly tournament play. Who do we have today, sir?
Left hand side in the blue, we have Sqwurrol playing 4th Monday with a Maverick income. Right hand side in red, we have the Badgerjelly playing 44th guard Sqwurrol, also with a Maverick income.
So, Tuesday we saw a nice kind of opening, seeing a little bit of anti-aircraft being brought on for Soviets, bringing that today. We are going to see it over here for the mountain as well. But we actually have a very, very early 75 Sqwurrol. And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that a lot. It's a nice modification from the mortar. It gives you a mortar firepower, but at the same time, I think the same level of danger that you're going to see so often.
Yeah, it's a very nice artillery unit, very cost effective. The radio is a huge trait for it, so being able to use that to just pick off high priority targets early on is definitely quite useful. And then just seeing the initial deployment, I also like his Pack 40 to slap bang on the middle hill. That's a very certain your dominance position out in the open.
Unfortunately for him, though, he's kind of getting a lot of firepower on him.
Yeah, the machine gun, yeah, actually stressing him down. It's the windmill, man. He has the high ground.
Absolutely. And the TU2S, yeah, that's going to just obliterate that entire position. So that's very much going to be a Soviet win for the early part, although he might lose it courtesy of that BF-109.
He's going to get right on his tail.
And there we go.
Shoots him down. Oh, the pack does survive. Only 2 guys dead. 3 guys
Quite
dead.
Surprising. Quite
surprising.
Down south on the hilltop, as we always see, definitely some firepower going back and forth. And the Venatori Takare over here going to blow up that half-track. And that's not why you bring a Panzerschreck, but it certainly helps.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely like using a sledgehammer to bash in a nail.
True. Now, Detanuti over here engaging the Ognomachiki with a little bit of, again, not the best weapons loadout, but, it's functional-ish, so why not?
You're just spreading the drinks.
Exactly. And it's nice. It's nice to know that you can still buy a drink for a fellow, in wartime. It's a great thing.
Mm-hmm. But
Detanuti also... please.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, catching out those guards in the meantime, catch them on the turn as they're being engaged by everything in a bag of chips. Forced down and... Oof, what was that?
Oh, SU-152, down low.
But the hilltop is blue. It's blue enough, anyway.
Yeah. It's going to be blue very soon, because this is a very effective push here from Sqwurrol. Of course, we saw on the Tuesday match, which you should also check out, like, rushing the hill is very important at the start of the match, especially from the blue side, as if you can shut it down, you can very easily just, well, hold it and then put pressure into the town just a little bit north. He hasn't completely got it yet. Badgerjelly still has a foothold, but Badger is a little bit more focused right now. Actually trying to, like, push, like, slap bang down the center. 2 Guardias and a T-34.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I'm not sure how I feel about it just yet, just because I'm seeing the SG-43s just getting shellacked by strafing runs, which makes perfect sense, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this just yet.
I'm also very interested with Badgerjelly's position on the far northern hill here. He's got the T-3045, yep. He's actually moving up some Guardias, and it's at a pretty nice little flank, because nothing here to stop him, no machine gun, so he can very easily get a nice sort of foothold into that far northern town.
Yeah, I do find myself a little surprised that the Pac-38 isn't rotated to kind of at least guard against any potential incursions to the north.
He should.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big missed opportunity, yeah, because he needs that T-34 to go down. Yeah, Pac-38 is going to have a bit of a hard time at long range, but still, just some sort of threat of firepower will go a long way, especially those 50mm shells.
We do have a couple of Pioneer mini squads being brought to the northern side. I don't think that's going to be enough. In fact, I think that's very much a liability. He's going to probably lose both of those guys on the approach between the 45mm and the Guardias. But hey, plucky idea. I don't think it's the right time for that.
Yeah, it does seem like Sqwurrol's in a bit of a odd position. He hasn't done a great job of continuing to reinforce the southern push, and it is starting to show as Badgerjelly is bringing in reinforcements. Hellcat 1 T-34 will probably be enough to push back up and get a very good position on that hill, because there's not really a whole lot of anti-tank here from Sqwurrol. Well, apart from... Oh!
No, I still don't like this.
They have the stern pistol. I completely forgot that thing even existed in this game. On the Lieutenant VM Pioneery.
I'm looking in the wrong region, apparently.
Oh, down south.
Ah, thank you. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, yeah, you're right!
I know.
Oh my gosh. And that... The penetration on that, 180. I forgot that it's so good.
Yeah, it's... I'm so happy they decided to turn a flare gun into an anti-tank gun. It's like, I mean, why not?
It's like, what Acme guy was like, you know what, dude? You know what we don't have? Enough stuff that can kill people with a pistol. Wait, what? Pack 38 in the meantime, though, just continuing to just annoy the thing. Not to death, unfortunately, for him. I think he's probably going to go down here in just a moment. But I was looking at the northern side, actually, to see as Henschel after Henschel being brought on in and Henschel after Henschel being forced away by this 25 mil. It's a very bold move, Cotton. He just... I think the idea right there is, you know what, if we throw enough planes at it, eventually the anti-aircraft piece is going to run out of ammunition. And so far, that strategy does seem to be working.
Yeah, it's almost out of ammo only here. 140 shots left. We've also seen the infantry move up on the northern side as well. Without much support here, the guards are, well, going to guard the building with machine guns.
True. True, but if the Venatorians get over here, I think actually that will be game, set, and match. It's not often that you see an anti-tank squad be better than most frontline squads, but this, of course, is one of those times.
Now, if only I could shoot the Panzerschrecker infantry.
At that point, be a little bit too safe in Private Ryan, I think, for my taste. But you know, I can definitely see that. But look at both the Lidums. I think that's pretty much the same idea. Of course, you got to be playing a little more softball.
Yeah, gotta have a good throwing arm.
Exactly, just like in college.
Yeah, they could have gone pro, Khan. They could have gone pro.
That's true. That's true. But it's just that one night out. That one night out, man. When the scouts came, just you had an off night. To have any idea what we're talking about, go watch Tuesday's game.
Yeah.
We're going to see a couple other pieces being brought in here. Artillery piece in the back, so you can start putting some fire down in that town, which I like very much. The Venatori is going to go down over here, I think, between the guards and any kind of support fire from the hilltop.
Yeah.
Nothing too shocking.
It feels like Sqwurrol's definitely a little bit on the back foot. He has not been trading efficiently, and just a few T-34s and SU-152s have been getting a whole lot of kills. And Sqwurrol's lack of ability to deal with these tanks is really starting to screw him over. Because he has really good infantry. The Romanians have some fantastic infantry units available. But without, you know, the tank threat gone, he can't do too much.
The tank threat's not going to be brought in for another 90 seconds either. This is a curious idea that we don't see very often. 0 AFVs in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Because I know how I feel about that, and I can tell you, it stinks to high heaven.
Yeah, it's, he's really have to use those few pack guns available to him to, you know, immense usage. And it does kind of ruin your early game A-phase initiative, because even though you don't have the income early on, you kind of need an initiative to push up. So he's going to have to, well, buy a whole lot of Panzer 4s come B-phase and trade very effectively with them.
Yeah, I agree. And it's one of those things that I just feel... Bad is the wrong term. It implies that there's a certain level of emotion that I have for digital soldiers. But you kind of have to feel a little bit bad, I guess, for lack of a better term, because there's the PBIs, man. Like, they can't do anything against all of these tanks, and that surrenders an awful lot of initiative, especially when an SU-152 roasts 2 squads in a single shot.
Yeah, and I mean, we're seeing down south that 1 T-34 alone, a little bit unsupported, but there's nothing there to punish him for his overextension, and they've gotten into a very good position. We only have 2, you know, rifle spam squads alive there from the Romanians, and a T-34, well, getting some good long-range shots off, but that's, yeah, the Vickers,
brutal.
I forgot, that's the big anti-aircraft run, so... And anti-tank, apparently, as well.
Yeah, I think after the 88, everyone was just like, you know what? I have an anti-aircraft gun. I can shoot that as something, right?
Just point it down!
Exactly. Exactly. TU2 making a run over here. I think the Vickers is going to engage him. The question is, how much panic can he elicit? Not enough. Not enough. I think those bombs are going to still fall right in the pickle barrel there.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. Yikes.
Will he push off immediately?
No, but he doesn't have to. There's still a Venator de Montes over here, and really, you can surrender the eastern side of the hilltop. As long as you hold the crossroads, that's all that really matters.
Yeah. I do like his continual pursuit from Badgerjelly down the center. You usually don't see people push the center of this map, because most people in general in this game are very hesitant in just pushing the center of anywhere. But it's a very good push, because if you control a central hill, it gives you such a good firing line to put pressure really on the entirety of the map. And, of course, you have the high ground.
But if you have a P-Shrek as an SU-152 right in front of you...
Ooh. That's sneaky.
I
like that.
Kill. And the Pac-38 takes out the T-34, so what had been a brutal push like it was potential is now Superi's being caught on two sides. One of those sides in an actual set of fortifications, and this might actually cause a bit of an issue for the 26th.
Yeah. And that's the reason you don't see people push the middle, guys. You can get flanked.
I mean, you can get flanked in an awful lot of spaces, but I mean, I think the issue here is not so much that you can get flanked, but then it's really hard to support guys in the long term. Like, it's fine to stick in this hillside. Like, if you can actually get into these trees, slap an anti-tank gun there, heck, even, like, put a T-34 in there. It doesn't have to be an 85, just put a T-34 in. It's still really, really hard to dislodge. I just think that you have to consistently have a combined armed approach, and you can't guarantee that. Henschel's making another run. Hero Henschel, I don't think, is going to get too much done here because the 37mm pop gun and otherwise, but his brethren might get some shots off. And does Sqwurrol with them.
Yeah, it's very smart for Badgerjelly getting a very effective anti-aircraft net out, because those B2s are pretty vital at this point for knocking out these T-34s. They're in pretty exposed positions, so those Henschels can do a lot of damage. Only if there wasn't only anti-air, yeah, that's kind of the limiting factor right now.
True. True. And desperate to kill that Vickers, we actually are going to see a 152 being plopped down on top of that. Unfortunately for him, maybe if he takes that down, better and cheaper, well, not cheaper, better anti-aircraft is still potentially on the field here in the form of those mobile wagons, which not brought in just yet, but mark my words, you take out a Vickers and bring in a mobile wagon, your air power is not going to be any happier.
And a bit more mobile.
Very, very true.
We're seeing a heavy investment in tanks up north here. From Sqwurrol, 2 Panzer IVs, 1 Panzer IV leader. Definitely seems he's trying to really just mop up his northern side. He's going to have to deal with 2 T-34s, but they are a little bit spread out, so if he was to, kill them one by one, he could probably solidify his northern position if his stuff doesn't keep getting sniped as it comes to the front line.
Exactly. If stuff doesn't get sniped to the front line, then he does have a lot of forces. If it gets cut down as they come forward, well, yeah, it gets a little bit more of a hiccup there. But here's the other question, too. On Tuesday, we saw a bit of a faux pas from one of the players as we hit into C phase. Do we see a bit of similar faux pas-ing as we hear?
Honestly, both sides are built pretty similar, in terms of just availability for their forces. So it should be an equal war of attrition for either side. It does feel like Badgerjelly has been trading a bit more efficiently. So we just have to see how these trades continue out throughout the rest of B phase.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? We are going to see P4s be engaged by an SU-152 as well as the 85mm being forced into that double-purpose role. SDKF though, in the meantime, also engaging quite a bit and starting to pick off infantry and nibbling away at the flanks in that central position.
Yeah. I very much like Badgerjelly's push down south here along the town. He is a little bit overexposed. I mean, there's a lot of angles of fire Sqwurrol can put down into his push, but it's a good well, I'd say it's a good push. It's going to get stopped here just because of the casualty rate. But just bringing in a horde of infantry and hitting this kind of weak underbelly was a good idea.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Rotating to the north, though, what had been a good position is now terrible. 2 P4s are still alive of the 3. The T-34 is nowhere to be found. I assume they're probably nice burning wrecks they can roast marshmallows on. And all that's left here is a Superior taking fire from 2 different sources, a guard squad that's getting torn to shreds, and is now dead, and a Superior Comrati that is just, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. Watch this completely flip. It's going to be back to a 12-12 within, before too much longer.
Oh, very effective push here from Sqwurrol. I think the real question is, what's he going to do with it? Is he going to hold the line and focus more down south? Or is he going to try to counterattack and, push heavy into the enemy's northern flank? Because that can also, even though it's a bit risky, because open ground, it can pay off quite well, because there's a decent amount of flags one can get under their control here.
That is certainly true for one, isn't it? 250/9s over here in that central position, sitting kind of very passively for the time being. I'm trying to see if there's any movement to them. No real movements to that just yet. I'd like to see them kind of be inserted into this position between the Pioneer, the Stress Pioneer, and the Superior, if for no other reason than to kind of threaten a base of fire down the line. But 2 T-34-85s, as well as a 25 mil sitting over here, being brought on forward, rushed in many ways. I think this is exactly what needs to happen. I don't know necessarily. Jeez, those infantry squads are not even getting a chance to fight. I don't know if that's still going to be enough.
Oh, yeah. And absolutely annihilated, yeah.
And the P4 dies immediately as well. Whew.
It does seem like Badger will be able to stabilize northern sides of the T-34s back into position, but at least Sqwurrol will be able to just set up defenses at the forest position. And I guess his best bet is to try to stabilize a little bit more down south at one bulge, right down the center, capture that flag back, and then probably just continue to grind down south, because it's grindy.
I'm seeing this particular replay that I haven't seen in a chunk of time is legitimately using fighter planes as strafing fire. And I know that sounds ridiculous to be surprising, but for a time, that's exactly what we saw. There was in the original SD or an SD2, fighter planes were constantly being used for that HE on the ground. Not so much anymore, and I'm actually kind of happy to see that, because I think a lot of times you would see people bring air power and then not be able to use it because it was very, very specialized in the anti-air role.
Yeah, remember in SD44 of the
Yes.
Polish Hurricanes? They would just completely dominate A phase because you just have like 2 or 4 Polish Hurricanes flying around pretending to battle Britain, and then just strafing everything with the gazillion cannons they have.
Yep, I'm also watching the Venatoris to the northern side here. One shot, one opportunity for glory, and they get it.
Woo! Damn, those Venatoris, they come in sneaky. I like him. I like how he's using them.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't get a ton of them, well, as much anymore, but the ones he has had, he's been very effective with.
Yeah, and it's such a good unit because just having the beefier squad size on that Panzerstrike squad allows you to do risky maneuvers like that. Because if you lose 2 or 3 guys, your unit isn't dead. Yours were expendable. I don't really know any Romanian names. The dude with the Panzerstrike, just as long as he's alive, who cares?
Exactly. That certainly is risky business. I'm not sure if it could be any riskier unless I put it in a button down and had it slide in the socks down the hallway. But SDKF says in the meantime, equally risky, trying to be caught out between the DPs and the T-30-45s. And oh yeah, by the way, the 85 mil they were trying to engage in the first place.
Yeah. We're seeing the infantry also try to flank around a bit, trying to get some good positions on the edge of that hill. Yeah, it's a 13-11. Sqwurrol's not doing great coming into C phase, because, I mean, there's not really too much of... It doesn't feel like he's going to be able to flip the momentum anytime soon. It still feels stalematey, which is in Badgerjelly's
Especially if he
favor.
continues to donate vehicles the way that he is up to the northern side.
Oh, yeah.
But Martyr's being brought on in, more and more infantry, if and this is a big if, he's able to go and pick up maybe the 85 mil, maybe even kill the Zis 3 that's here. He's not going to kill the T-34-85, of course, because infantry don't have anything that can do that. But he might be able to pick up some small, nifty little casualties here and there.
Indeed. But on sniper as well, getting into the action at long range. And I think, yeah, Badgerjelly might be able to get back the position in the forest. He has the fire support available.
He does, doesn't he? And it's 12-12 right now. What I'm kind of curious, what TU2 is going to obliterate those two squads? I know those bombs are falling long. No, they're going to hit, unfortunately. Yikes. But don't do a ton of damage. Huh.
Oh.
BF-109's force back. 85. People know exactly what the 85 mil is. Wondering if we're going to see any resupply for those artillery pieces. I think that might be a good idea to help maybe resume some kind of pressure someplace. Henschel's coming right back in, making desperate runs, I would call, for the 76s, whether it's a 76-2 or the T-34-76. Hero play, maybe. The 85 mil is now stressed, so it's just a 25 mil, and Lazar is making a run and doesn't get any kills.
No. Yeah, it's a real problem with the Heinz-Sqwurrols. Just even the slightest bit of anti-air and they get freaked out quite easily because they're so bloody slow.
And I feel like even their cannon is not as good as it needs to be to get legitimate kills.
Oh.
No,
it's no B3.
You need a higher grade than that. But SU-76 is starting to pound the front lines. You see 4 more squads of guards being poured into the southern side, and the Romanians, despite being brutally just brave beyond all sense of the word, T-34 is getting picked off. Even though these bombers are very, very ineffective over here from the 26th, I don't know what the heck is going to happen here.
Yeah, it just seems looking at the front line, there's a whole lot more red. You know, it's blue, and yeah, a lot of Romanian tanks and tank destroyers have been getting blapped here. So, and especially on a map like Sluch, because having the tank advantage is so huge.
Sherm Pistol just got a kill! Oh, no, sorry, that was Panda Shrek. Oh, man, I thought the... Exactly.
It's a really big pistol.
It's a pistol you have to carry on the shoulder and fire with the help of a friend. But the LTVM, I thought that actually was a... Yeah, what a shame. And Sqwurrol perhaps realizing it's time to kind of, even a blind squirrel can't find a nut sometimes. He does tap out. Understandable.
And the KD is very close. Only 100 or so difference between both sides. Really just showing how grindy that game was.
That's true. And you look at kills at the same time. You can also see the power, I think, of tanks. T-34 over here. A couple of the guns in the first place and a 5-pack of squads. SU-152 picking up 4 kills. I mean, T-34 over here. So, honestly, if there are A-phase tanks, and I know the Romanians don't get tons of them, A-phase any vehicles, I think that's a completely different game. I think going ground poundy too much in the early part was really what killed him.
Yeah, he just did not have that flexible maneuverability which tanks give you. And I mean, we saw clearly of how Badgerjelly was maneuvering, how he was able to flank about and use those tanks to push the right open spaces off that map.
Exactly. But any final thoughts there, sir? Oh, folks, in that case, then, that's going to do it for us today, and I think for this week in terms of replays. If you have anything else, I'm Connell.